Gentlemen, what is going on? It's Hiran and welcome to today's video. So I've received this comment of a subscriber telling me I should cover Beatrice Caruso. So that is what we're going to do today. We're going to cover the relationships or dating experience that this particular woman has had in order to analyze it and get some basic ideas and concepts. Now, before we get into it, gentlemen, I just want to say if you have any articles you want me to cover, any TikToks or any particular stories, just send them on the Discord we have. There is a subsection about videos or dating profiles or whatever. If you want me in particular to cover it, just write my name, Hiran, next to it so I can find it. But with that being said, gentlemen, let's get down to business and let's see what this woman has to say. And actually, before we start, just to get to know her, she has a YouTube with quite a large following, and she is on a journey to lose weight, so good for her. I'm happy for her. Let's see what her dating experiences look like.
Okay, so I have been out here in these streets dating what have been presented to me as grown-ass men. That is questionable for the past month now. And in the past 2 weeks, I have decided to expedite the process. Like, not text them and get to know them before agreeing to go out. Just going out on dates rapid fire really quickly, making it more quick and painless and more about the social aspect of getting out there, socializing, being less awkward, learning how to meet people. Everything was fine and dandy. I was having fun. I was going on all these dates, but then I was also experiencing a lot of rejection, which is fine because I know I'm not going to be everyone's cup of tea. My whole strategy for dating is to be as unapologetically...
Now, before we continue, it always surprised me how women will say, just in one sentence, how, yeah, I've been just rapid fire dating, I've been meeting all these men, and they will switch to another topic immediately, not realizing that that in itself is a privilege. Women just don't understand that. This woman in particular, not trying to be mean or anything, let's just say that they're, far more beautiful women, far more women with things going on for them. Again, not being mean to this woman or anything. I'm just saying that as a woman, it doesn't matter what you look like. You always have the chance to meet so many men. And women just don't seem to realize that that is a privilege that men don't have. You can take a man, a good looking one, with a lot of things going on for him, and he will not be able to have the amount of dates that this woman has. It's just so astonishing. They will always mention it casually, like it doesn't mean anything, while not realizing it is a huge privilege and a huge power they have in the dating market. But let's continue.
Myself as I can possibly be right out the gate. So we kind of skip that whole on your best behavior 3-month dating thing before you actually figure out who someone is. Because I feel like if I'm myself, that lets people be their self right out of the gate. I know who they are and all those red flags come out, honey. And boy, do they come out.
I have to agree with her. Yeah, I don't like the idea of people, whether that be men or women, going to dates and showing their A game or trying to be someone they're not. It's extremely stupid and it just postpones the inevitable. I can sort of understand that, when you meet new people, it's absolutely normal and natural to want to show them your best personality. Of course, you're not going to go there and show all of your bad habits or characteristics. But some people take it to the extreme. Like, some people will go on a date and pretend that they're someone that they're totally not. Men usually do this in order to get the woman to have bedroom fun, and women usually do this to secure a man, where they will show themselves as being kind and understanding and really joyful to be around, and when they secure the commitment, they change completely. So I like her take on this, that she wants to be more natural. Of course, as I mentioned, it's not about showing your bad, your bad characteristics. It's just about not lying to other people. Let's keep watching.
The only thing that I'm dishonest about is what I do for a living. I don't tell people about the YouTube thing. I don't tell them that I make videos for a living about my life. One, If they found my channel, they would have access to all of this personal information about me. Because I am 100% myself on this bitch, you know what I mean? So I just think like it would be really easy to like manipulate someone's feelings about you if you had access to like literally everything down to their daddy issues. You know what I mean? Like,
It's worrying, isn't it? That with the internet, someone can just go to your social media and see everything about you. I think that is something that a lot of women should kind of understand. If I meet this new guy and he goes through my TikTok or he goes through my Instagram, will he feel embarrassed about me? I think that if a lot of women ask this question to themselves, they will really stop posting so much garbage. Because let's be honest, any man with self-respect that, for example, goes on a first date with a woman, if that same man that night adds you on Instagram and see that your feed is all about your butt, do you think he will have any respect for you? Do you think he will say, wow, this woman, she's so narcissistic, she's all the time posting about herself and making TikToks of how she's whining about men and just posting photos to get the validation and attention from random strangers? That is such a good dating material person. I just want to be with her and have something serious and marry her. Of course not. Like, ask your question as a woman. If I like this guy and, for example, he wants me to meet his family, would his family be embarrassed of what type of content I have on my socials? Let's keep watching.
like that's not ideal. Also, I did social media to a couple of people that I was like talking to for a while just to kind of see what would happen, and one of two things happened. Either they were disgusted by it and thought that I was like really full of myself or narcissistic for posting videos about myself even though they didn't really know me yet, or they were super excited about it and were trying to figure out ways that I could use my platform to help them for their own self-gain. So even though I don't want to lie to these people and start a relationship off that way, I feel like it's a good way to protect myself to just not mention it. I justify it. I mean, if they feel a type of way, if I do eventually tell them, then, you know what I mean? I feel like my reasons are valid. There were very few that were just neutral about the whole social media thing. People feel one way or the other about it. It's a thing. But I don't really need to worry about the long term because no one is exactly sticking around. And maybe it's because I'm using a dating app to try to find people, but the options for meeting someone organically are like few and far between. But 30 is a weird age for dating anyway because there ain't no one out there that hasn't experienced any kind of like trauma or heartbreak at this point. Like, I'm fine with people having baggage because it's unavoidable. I got baggage, but I feel like I'm also toting it through the airport myself, you know what I mean? And tagging it, being responsible for it, not.
Yes, baggage is pretty much unavoidable. I don't think anyone is perfect and doesn't have any bad experiences. But that doesn't go to say that because it is unavoidable, it should be reinforced. You know what I mean? Let me give you a health example for that matter. You could make the argument that everything in this day and age is bad for your health, even the drinking water we consume. But that doesn't mean that you can go to McDonald's every day, you see? So while having baggage or going through a bad experience in the dating world is unavoidable, that doesn't mean you should totally say, you know what, since it's unavoidable, let me just keep stuck in a huge pile of garbage and baggage on my dating life.
Leaving it unattended to where people think it's a bomb. Does that make sense? So what I'm looking for is how they handle that baggage. Are they able to self-reflect? Are they emotionally available? Do they have any kind of emotional intelligence? Are they blaming everything on a crazy ex or multiple crazy exes? Red flag run, because you are going to be someone that they blame no matter what you do when they jump off to the next.
Yeah, I have to agree with her on this again. It's extremely true. Like, when you meet these people that will complain about their last 5 relationships per se being toxic, you are going to be the 6th one. Do you realize that? Because they are the common denominator. And what happens with a lot of people is that they themselves are the problem for the relationship not working. So every time it doesn't work, they blame the other person. But gentlemen, before we continue, she mentioned like a minute ago, I should have stopped it there, but she mentioned how, she shouldn't be on, maybe she shouldn't be on the dating apps. And she mentioned how maybe meeting new people should be something more organic, and that she's maybe doing it wrong. I have to say, I really, really, really dislike dating apps. I think they're a waste of time. I think they are complete and utter BS. Now, I didn't mention this previously on my channel because I can sort of understand that, people don't have many options. Like maybe you live in a small community, maybe you live in a village, or maybe you are in your 30s and you don't have as many options. Maybe you come from a divorce. I can absolutely understand that. But here comes my point that dating apps are like a last resort. I do not understand why dating apps are crawling with people in their 20s. I don't understand it. You are young, you are in your most attractive years, you have time, you can change your life, you can choose your partners. You are in the best years of your life, and you go on a dating app that is made for people who don't have options, or who come from divorces. Do you understand? If I meet a girl that has had or has a dating app, it's an immediately no. Like, what are you doing there if not casually hooking up? Are you meaning to tell me that a young girl in her 20s who is attractive has to go on a dating app to meet people? You literally just have to walk out of your house and go to college or to a library or to a freaking coffee, and you will have people trying to talk with you, engage in a conversation or get to know you. Like the fact that, I could more understand it about men because they don't have as many options. But a woman in her early years being in a dating app, personally for me, is a red flag. Like, comment below if you think anything different. But the fact that you have all these options and yet you have to be on a dating app, presumably looking for Prince Charming, you will not find Prince Charming on a dating app. You have to find him organically, and for women, that is something that is really easy. So my take on it is, I'm not going to say that dating apps are bad for everyone. I think that, in the cases of some people, they are necessary because they don't have the time or they don't have as many people around. But dating, you should not date in your 30s. Like, you should try to do that when you are younger and you have all this time ahead of you. This is why the dating apps are so common between women who are over 30, because they have already wasted the time they had to find a person organically, to find the quote unquote Prince Charming. And now you are in your 30s and you don't have as many options. And now you're trying to make something out of it by going to a dating app and meeting a bunch of strangers. It's not ideal. But let's keep watching, gentlemen. Sorry for the long rant.
But once you sift through the sea of sad people that are freshly out of long-term relationships, hating women, empty and jaded, or opening a conversation with overtly sexual messages right out of the gate, like, sir, no one needs to know about you wanting to lick everyone's butthole. Stop. Does that work? I don't know. I don't think it does. Right out of the gate, just telling someone you want to lick their butthole. There's no way. There's no way in the history of man that has ever been attractive.
Yeah, and I have to agree with her, gentlemen. I'm not saying most men do this, but I've certainly have come across about stories of men being direct or open about S3 behavior. I don't like this channel being about male dating strategies and stuff. I produce a different type of content, but it's true that this is a mistake. Like, you should not be doing that. Men appreciate it when women are direct about these things, but women are not. Like, you have to understand that women hear this type of S3 willingness towards them all the time. They are accustomed to receiving this type of attention, and they don't value it. Like, when you are being direct with women about things you want to do, they just view it as annoying. I have never seen a woman who likes it. So it's certainly a mistake that men should avoid doing. Women do not appreciate it. Women are used to it and don't like it.
There is no way. Unless you're like on a site where like that's the goal. You know what I mean? I'm flabbergasted, honestly, why that's an opener. But once you sift through surface level crazy, you start dating people that you have actual conversations with. You know what I mean? That can carry a conversation. The bar is low. The bar is buried. So I'm just going to tell you about like some of the situations that I've gotten myself into recently. There's certainly not all of them. Been going on a lot of dates recently. Most of them were just like mediocre and then I got ghosted afterwards. So that's fine. I'm here for it, honestly. One of the first dates that I went on, we went to a fancy restaurant, like way fancier than who I am as a person. Like, girl, I'm like IHOP at 4 a.m. or maybe Olive Garden on a good day fancy. But this place was fancy and expensive. And I was meeting a guy that we will call Kevin because that's his name. I'm just kidding, it's not his name. But I think it's funny when people do that. That's not his name though, I swear. So Kevin and I, the banter was there. We like talked back and forth. He seemed funny, all of this stuff. And I met him at this swanky restaurant. And it would have probably been a good first date had I not caught him checking out the waitress. You know? She came and took our drink order. And then like as she was walking away, I followed his eyes down as he like gave her the once over, you know, checking out that rump. And she was very beautiful. I'll give him that. But I mean, could you at least be like a little bit more sneaky about it? Fuck. Like, I'm meeting you for the first time. But that wasn't.
All right, so that was actually a quite stupid mistake by the guy. Not reasonable behavior. But gentlemen, I just want to mention that the female counterpart to this is the amount of dates they have while meeting men. Like some men still believe that when they go on a date with a woman, like they are the only date that they're having, or that the woman is being, just with them or showing interest in them, seeing where things go and take it from there. But in reality, when you date a woman, there is a high chance that she has like 4 dates around yours, like the day before, the day after, and the day after that as well. So you don't like it when men, are with you and still checking on other girls, even if it's just a stare. But meanwhile, it seems like you are okay with having a lot of dates while you are being with that man. And I ask you, what is the difference? He's checking that girl because she's beautiful, and you have a problem with that, but you don't have a problem with you being interested in a lot of men at the same time. Let's keep watching.
Necessarily like a deal breaker for me, because like I was thinking in my head like maybe that wasn't what he was doing. It totally was, but maybe it wasn't. I was still trying to like talk to him and have like this conversation, but then he just like starts trauma dumping on me, like all of the crazy stuff that he's endured in his childhood, and then as a result his adulthood and the arrests that he's had, and like all of this stuff. And
okay, so here comes the second mistake of the guy. When you go on dates with women, you should totally avoid speaking deep things about yourself, especially on a first date. Like, you could make this argument that even in a relationship, it's bad to open up so much because your emotions can be used against you. But especially on a first date, my man, if you have any problems, just share them with your homies. What are you doing going on a first date and start to speak about all your trauma with a person who you don't know? So extreme mistake there by the guy. This Kevin, man, already 2 mistakes, and it seems like we're early into the date.
And like, I admit, like the stuff that he told me that happened in his childhood that I won't repeat, that was a lot. Like, I was like, are you okay? But I really don't know what to do in these types of situations, like what the protocol is. How do you get someone off of this topic once they're starting? So I was just like listening, asking questions about it, telling him I was sorry, and like all of this stuff. I don't know what to do in that situation, but he wasn't really asking about me or anything. He was just kind of monologuing. The one thing he did ask about me was about YouTube, because he's one of the ones that I told that I make videos. I didn't tell him the channel name or anything, but he asked me how many subscribers I had, and then he asked me what made me so special that people watch me, which I thought was like a little bit backhanded, and I honestly didn't know how to answer it because I don't know. I was just like, I don't know, I'm just normal and I like vlog my life. And he And he looked at me like I was the dumbest person on the planet. And then he goes into like this whole monologue about how he hates online dating and like the apps, and that like you have to talk for like 4 days before you meet someone. And we had talked for, at that point, exactly 4 days before I met him. So I was like really personally kind of offended. Anyways, and then the bill comes and he sighed and he like looked annoyed or whatever. And like I always like offer to at least pay half. You know what I mean? Like I'm not trying to like get anyone to pay for me for anything. That's one of like my insecurities. I don't want me to feel like I owe anybody anything. Fucking hate that shit. I don't want anyone to be like, oh, you're taking advantage of me for money, all that stuff. Fucking hate it. So I'm like digging in my purse and like I get out my card. I put my card on the thing. He puts his card on the thing. I'm thinking I'll pay for my meal, my drink, the things that I got, and we'll split like the appetizer or whatever, and he'll pay for all of his shit. Because let me tell you, I got the mushroom risotto and one drink. We got an appetizer. He got the biggest ribeye that I have ever seen in my life. 4 drinks, and these drinks, mind you, were like $15 a piece. So it was a lot. The waitress comes and he says to split the check. My bill was $100. Sis, I paid $100 for this meal. I bought this man 2 drinks, basically, and half a steak, and provided him with free therapy. For what? I will give...
Alright, so again, this guy Kevin, man, making so many mistakes. Gentlemen, I do believe that, you know, most men will be totally okay with paying the full date, but like worst case scenario or base case scenario, whatever you want to call it, is paying 50-50. Like that is the bare minimum. Like if as a man you want to pay 50-50, that is totally okay. But you know, having a woman paying for you, man, if you don't have money, just don't go on dates. So I can understand the frustration of this woman. You know, we hear so many women whining about how they have to pay 50-50, which is completely stupid. I mean, if that is what the man wants to pay, if he wants to pay only his part, he has all the rights to do it. You know, but as I mentioned, for the most part, men don't have a problem with paying the full price, because that is how it goes. But man, to have a woman paying for your meal and on a first date, like, what the hell?
Give Kevin this though. He at least walked me to my car at night downtown, because there is some people that are sketchy as fuck walking around downtown there. There was a man who was frothing from the mouth, acting like he was on something when we got out of the restaurant. So I was thankful at least that he walked me to my car. Thank you, Kevin, for that. I'm sorry, I had to turn on the car. It's getting toasty AF in here. Another guy, let's call him Rudy. Rudy was a couple of inches shorter than me. I'm not telling you that for shallow purposes. I'm telling you because it's pertinent to the story, and you'll see why in a little bit. Because honestly, I would entertain a short king. You know what I mean? Morticia and Gomez Adams. Power couple. Plus, I'm rarely attracted to people physically in the beginning anyway. It more like comes later after I get to know them and I have some kind of mental connection with them. You know what I mean? That's just how I operate. So I date a wide variety of people. I don't have a physical type. Anyway, even though I wasn't focused on looks, Rudy was. Rudy was very complimentary, which sounds like a good thing, right? Like, it's nice to have someone think that you're pretty, but when they cut you off mid-sentence every 5 minutes to admire your beauty, to tell you that you're pretty, it's kind of a lot, and it makes you uncomfortable. And it didn't...
Again, gentlemen, this is another mistake that resembles the one I previously mentioned about being direct on S3 actual topics. Like, do not compliment women all the time. And I love this sentence. If you treat her like a star, she's gonna treat you like a fan. You have to understand that women get compliments all the time, and men really like it when they're being told a compliment, or when women say something nice about them. But women are so used to this that you can be telling her extremely original or nice compliments, and they will not care. Like, at the same time, they need it, because if you don't tell them at all, they will get a strange feeling, you know, because they're so accustomed to it. But the same thing that they are so accustomed to it makes them not value it at all. Like, they need it to be there. They need the validation. But when it's in big numbers, they just get disgusted. It's so funny how that goes.
feel genuine. I was kind of wondering, like, is he wanting me to compliment him back? You know what I mean? I don't know why this is happening, but I can't at this point get a thought out so you could actually get to know me. Like, I was so uncomfortable. I even told him that I was uncomfortable with it. I was like, you gotta stop doing this. I don't know how to receive compliments. I'm uncomfortable. But like, I was laughing through it the whole time because that's what I do when I'm uncomfortable. I laugh. That's also what I do when I get hurt. Like, if I fall down or something and I'm in pain, I laugh. I don't know if I should bring that up with my therapist, but it has been a problem for me in various situations because people don't get the hint that, like, I'm not having a good time. Like, maybe also for the compliments, I got the vibe that he thought, like, it was just like a confidence issue. Like, oh, she doesn't think that she's beautiful. I'm gonna show her that she is beautiful. But he just continued to do it, except for when we started talking about all of the bad dates that we've been on. Because he got on this whole rant, he started monologuing, he started talking a lot about, you know, going through the story of like this bad date. Which was the only time I felt comfortable because he wasn't staring into my soul and telling me that I was pretty. But then it's my turn to contribute to the conversation and tell my bad dating story. So I decided, because it had recently happened, you know, it was pretty fresh in my memory and it was a lot, to tell the plumber story. I'm trying to relay the facts. I'm trying to recall things. I'm trying to tell them in chronological order. But as I'm trying to do this, Rudy decides that he is going to get closer and closer to me. So I have my hand like on my knee and he decides that he's going to put his hand on my hand. I'm struggling to recall the facts at this point because I feel Rudy like inching closer and closer and closer to me as I'm trying to tell the story. And it's apparent that I'm getting nervous because I can't remember what the hell I was going to say. So I keep taking these long pauses and looking off to the side, like trying to recall the information while this whole ass man is just slowly making their way toward me, inch by inch. I swear to you, it was in slow motion and it took at least half an hour. It was, I don't know what the fuck was happening. When I tell you that I felt like a deer in the middle of a meadow, slowly getting crept up on by a lion. That's the only way that I could describe this experience. And
Okay, gentlemen, we're gonna pause it right here because I have something to say. You know, women will complain often about men creeping up on them or being really straightforward or, you know, quote unquote harassing them or being, you know, getting too close. I've had so many female friends that have told me things like, you know, this man is going, going for me all the time and he's being really annoying and he doesn't stop showing interest. And I tell them, okay, so why don't you tell them to, you know, that you're not interested? And they tell me, oh, I have so many times. Like this one time that he wanted to go out, I told him that I'm busy. And this other second time, I told him that I'm sick. And this other third time, I told them that today I can't. And I'm just sitting there like, bro, do you realize you haven't told him you're not interested at all? Like, women complain all the time about how men are too eager to go on a date or, you know, are being too physically, too physically active with them or, you know, trying to hug them or kiss them. But at the same time, they do not do anything to prevent that. Like, this woman is complaining that this man was touching her hand or something like this. But at the same time, she didn't do anything. She was just laughing, nervously. You are a grown person. You know, you're not a kid anymore. Just tell them straightforward that you're not interested. Because the thing goes that men are the chasers. Men are the ones who go, who are interested in women. Men are the ones doing the chase. Men are the ones who show interest. Women don't do anything. They just sit there waiting for the chase to happen and playing all these games. Men are the ones that have to show interest. So you can't be mad that men are trying to get with you because that is the whole thing. If men did not chase, they wouldn't get with any woman at all. Like, men don't have this power to just sit there and people to come and be interested in them. For a man to achieve something, whether that be a relationship or a kiss or whatever, they have to chase it. So women have to understand that this is how it goes. And if you don't want it to happen, be clear about it. Stop with all this crap of, I'm busy today, I can't do it. If you tell him that you're busy, he's going to ask you again tomorrow. Do you understand that? If you tell him whatever thing, like, oh no, I'm just, I'm not feeling really okay today, excuse me. well, he's gonna ask you tomorrow. Like, I do not understand. They whine so often about this. That is how it is. Men are the chasers. If you don't want to be chased, be clear about it. Stop giving all these excuses that will make him just ask you again tomorrow. So in this case, why didn't you just say something or tell him something? You expect him to read your mind, that you're feeling uncomfortable. You know, he can't read your mind. But let's keep watching, gentlemen.
And like, I'm laughing, because I'm uncomfortable. So I realized that on his end, you know what I mean? Like, that's the mixed signals. Rudy is like this far from my face. I understand that the laughing might have been like a little bit of a mixed signal, like, we're just playing around kind of thing. Like, no, I'm.
Yeah, it's a mixed signal. I don't know why that is so hard to understand. Like, you were just sitting there and laughing while he was doing this. You didn't stop him by any means. You know, it's not about being rude. It's not about shutting him down aggressively. It's just, be clear. Tell him that you're not comfortable with this, or give him a sign that he will understand, instead of just sitting there and laughing.
I'm uncomfortable. If you weren't clued in, I was also like turtle shelling away. Like, my head was literally like this, back, trying to get away from Rudy's face. I was like, what are you doing? And he was like, I'm just trying to see if you're a bad kisser or not. And I'm like, that's not what you're supposed to tell people before you kiss them, because then they're going to be worried that they're a bad kisser. And I was like, Rudy, I'm just going to let you in on a little secret. I am a bad kisser. I flat out say it because I am. I hate kissing people, especially people that I don't know that well. This is a first date, Rudy. We don't even know each other. You certainly don't know me because you haven't been listening to a damn thing that I've been saying. Oh, and the height thing was important to mention because I didn't feel threatened by him. Like, I was thinking about it later on and I was like, if Rudy was like a larger man and I didn't feel like I could beat him in an arm wrestling competition, I would have felt like my life was in jeopardy in that moment. And that's probably how Rudy gets away with some of the shit that he's been doing. I don't know why people think the things that they do are okay when it comes to like personal space. So Rudy is the only guy that it ghosted. So it's like, you got to do some big stuff wrong for me to not, give you a second chance or to like get to know you more. You know what I mean? Because I always feel like first dates are super awkward and people maybe like they're not fully themselves or whatever. So like, I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. So the last tale I'm going to tell is about Tim, and me and Tim hung out 4 times. First date went actually pretty well for a first date. We went to a fancy restaurant. The conversation was decent. While we were at the restaurant, he asked me if I liked golfing. Again, I'm very transparent. I flat out said, I hate golf. I don't even like mini golf. And then Tim proceeds to ask me if I want to go golfing after this, because even though I hate it, there's this place that has like all these dinosaurs, because I told him that I made like a giant like paper mache dinosaur that he thought that I would think was cool. And because I was having a good time with Tim, I decided that I would go mini golfing with him, and that was kind of a way to be like, hey, I like you enough to do something that I don't want to do. And I will never go mini golfing again, no matter if it's my soulmate or not, because mini golfing sucks. We went to the mini golf place. We were sandwiched between 2 families with tons of kids. It was just like really hot and the sun was beating down on us, and we weren't really talking as much because a lot of it was just like waiting for our turn to go and then being pressured to take our turn by the family that was immediately behind us. It was just really busy and it was just like whatever. And I was just trying to like Happy Gilmore shots to like get them in the hole. And Tim was like, why don't you try like squaring up to the ball or whatever, and he kind of showed me how to do it, and then I like kind of snapped back and I was like, well, Tim, I don't feel like I need to do that because you're doing that and I'm doing just as good as you are. And I was kidding, but like, it was like, I think that was the reason why, like, at the end of the date, he was standing like 6 feet away from me and he's just like, bye. And I was like, bye, and I kind of felt like Tim was not interested. But I ended up texting him again because I felt like, okay, mini golf could have just been like a glitch. Like, we had a lot of like good conversations before that. Okay, before we even went out, Tim asked me like what I wanted for the future. Like, he asked me and I told him like what I wanted in a relationship, what I saw me doing in my future, all this stuff, and he was like really impressed by that, and he had a lot of the same sentiments about like what he wanted for himself in his future and all this stuff. So it's kind of like a good sign when they're talking about the future and seeing if yours aligns with theirs.
Okay, this thing that she just mentioned is really important and says a lot about her. She just mentioned how when she has conversations with men, it's a good sign, it's a red flag if they talk about the future. This makes me think that this woman is not the standard woman that just wants attention. She actually wants something serious. Because I've mentioned this in, I think, my last video, the previous one. A lot of women in the dating market, in the dating applications, they have a roster of guys, and they just like to receive the validation, attention from that roster. So the word future is scary to them. The word commitment is scary because if a man is showing that he wants something serious and something stable, they feel as if they're being taken, yeah, as if that roster is being taken away from them. So the fact that this woman is not afraid of the future, of commitment, if that is the case, then my respect, because she's actually looking for something serious. She's not just about the attention. So great for her. And this is, gentlemen, don't be confused. This is not the typical scenario. I'm actually surprised that this woman is willing to commit. It's maybe because she's in her 30s. I don't know. I don't know her life. But for the most part, what women are doing on dating applications is just having a roster and not willing to commit to anyone.
Thought. Anyway, so I reach back out to him. I just say something that I think is funny, and I'm just trying to like feel out the vibe. He proceeds to tell me that he kind of just felt like we were better as friends, and if I still wanted to be friends, then that would be cool because he doesn't have many here. And I was like, cool, yeah, for sure. I mean, like, I don't have a lot of friends either, and I do really enjoy your company and all this stuff, so I was like, that's better than nothing. Plus,
Okay, gentlemen, we're gonna end these videos right here because the video is quite long. We're gonna read some comments, but before that, gentlemen, she just goes to say how he ended up ghosting her, which, he just told you that he only wants to be friends, and that is the best way he sees. Then she mentions how she went on 3 other dates with him, and in the end, he wasn't interested in something serious. Well, he just told you that he just wants to be friends, So I guess that answers that, but the general take, gentlemen, after hearing her experiences and her dating is, as a woman, you don't like to pay for other people's meals. You don't want to be creeped upon or be in touch too much, or you're feeling uncomfortable with all these dating experiences. You don't want to be ghosted, etc. The answer to all of that is don't date in your 30s. Because it makes it all so harder. Why don't you date in your 20s? Why don't you organically find the person that you're willing to spend your life with? Why don't you walk this path when you are 20 years old and you're attractive, you are young, you have time, you have energy? Why do you do that when you are 30, when you don't have as much time, when everybody in the dating market is of lower quality, when you have to resort to dating applications where, it's just a bloodbath right there? I keep asking this same question to all the women we cover on the channel. As a woman, you have all the choices. Even in her 30s, this woman can just go to a dating application and get like 50 dudes to take dates with. So why didn't you do that in your 20s when you had even more options and they were better? It's the question that apparently no woman wants to answer. So, gentlemen, before we end the video, because it's been quite a long one, let's just read the comments on this video. So we have Go Price here saying, Miss B, I am old enough to be your father, so here's some fatherly advice. Don't settle. You keep being your true self. One day, someday, you will find what you're looking for. It will just happen. Enjoy your day. Yeah, gentlemen, it will just happen. Man, I hate this line of thinking so much that, just be yourself, just be comfortable in what you are right now, and things will just happen. You will just find a job that requires a low amount of effort and a high pay. You will just find Prince Charming, the perfect Prince Charming. God will give it to you. You will win the lottery. Everything will just happen because you deserve it. This line of thinking is so stupid. It's partially true that you don't have to settle. It's partially true that you have to be yourself, but not to the extent that you have to be comfortable with your bad aspects, Life is all about self-improving, and life is all about, You have to settle with some things. You are not God's gift to the earth. So I will totally understand. Like, for example, let's say a woman is in her 20s and she has a good work, environment. She has ambition. She is attractive. She has worked all her life to get rid of the bad aspects of her character. She is working on herself. She's being a good human being. And so she demands, or she expects, or she wants another man that can mirror that. Another man that will also have been working all his life on his character. She will want a man who will not ghost her, who will not leave her behind. I mean, that is totally acceptable. That is totally reasonable that you want someone who will bring to your life the same things that you've been working towards. But this thing of don't settle is usually said by people who don't have anything going on for them, and just want to be comfortable, just want to sit on their ass all day and expect the best thing in life to happen to them. It's so stupid. This is why this type of comments, man, are just so outrageously stupid, man. And we have another comment here by Grey Havoc. Us dudes have fragile egos, carry grudges, are generally gross. What the what the hell? And poor at expressing our feelings in productive ways. My wife and I think you are genuine, creative, and hilarious. Hang in there. It took her and I until our 30s to find each other. Man, what the hell is this type of what type of men are following this woman, man? This is so stupid. Talk for yourself, Grey Havoc. Most guys don't have fragile egos, nor are generally gross. Talk for yourself. And finally, gentlemen, the comment of Mitch B. What is off about you is you're authentic, you communicate honestly, and want clarity. And most people can't do this and don't want to do this, hence your dating experiences. Yada yada. I have to say, this woman is authentic, at least from what I have seen, at least from this video, and it appears that she is honest. From what we have covered, it seems that she truly wants something serious. She's not there just for the validation. She's not just there for the attention. So I kind of do like this woman. I respect her for the things she's wanting to find. But, my advice to her and every other woman in this situation is, why do you date in your 30s? What have you been doing until now? Everything is so harder. It's not impossible, but it's harder. Most men would settle with a woman in their 20s. Men do not want to wait until they are 30, until they are 40. It's usually women who do this. So if you're a woman and you just want to find someone who is good for you, well, do it in your 20s. Do it when you are young and you have time. But with that being said, gentlemen, thank you a lot if you've made it till the end. This was a really long video. Tell me what your thoughts are on the length of this video, on the content that we've covered. And give me your ideas of future videos on the Discord. Thank you for watching and have a great day.